Hello and welcome to the Earth Chats podcast. I'm your host, Sahara. I'm an activist, writer, speaker, and listener with a passion for creating change in our world. Join me and special guests weekly as we have inspiring conversations and reveal insightful knowledge, tips, and tricks on how you can live more mindfully on this planet. Tune in every Wednesday and make sure to hit subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest episodes. And now, without further ado, let's get on with the episode. As a special gift to our listeners, BMDM Digital has created a 52-page free social media training guide that will help you ignite your social media. You can download your free copy in the link below. Welcome to Earth Chats. Today we have a special guest talking about kind of a different topic that we usually talk about. We'll be talking a bit of health, a bit of nutrition, a bit of wellness, a bit of homeopathy, all kinds of interesting things, and relating it always back to the planet because we are a part of nature. It's not us and them. It's not people and nature. We are all one, so everything is connected. So please welcome Geraldine to the podcast.
Thank you.
Can you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, I am a nutritionist. I'm a homeopath and also a qualified chef. I moved to Knysna about 11 years ago, and I think I'm officially a local now. I'm an animal lover,
Yes.
and I really love food. And that's kind of why I am in the kitchen. I have a business called the Nutrilicious Kitchen, and I teach people how to make healthy food. So.
Amazing. Because I follow Geraldine on Instagram, and I'm telling you guys, she's got some like amazing food pictures. It's just like, oh, and your cats are so cute.
Yes, my children.
Yes. So you're a registered homeopathic and naturopathic doctor. You've got post-grad degrees in personalised nutrition, plus complementary qualifications in herbal medicine, functional medicine, homeopathy, and nutrition. You also run your own business and practice called the Nutrilicious Kitchen, hosting food preparation workshops, doing private consultations with clients, as well as a whole lot of work through social media. So lots and lots of stuff. So can you share a bit on this? What started you getting into interested in health, and what the journey has sort of entailed?
Okay, so initially when I was in school, I wanted to be a marine biologist.
Okay.
And my grandmother got very sick. She had cancer, and she died within 4 weeks of diagnosis. It was terminal, and there wasn't anything that conventional medicine could do. I was very close with my grandmother, so it was a huge shock for me, and that I think was the turning point for me, that I decided I wanted to go into healthcare, and alternative healthcare. So yeah, that's kind of the starting point of my journey.
Yeah, wow, no. My uncle also died from cancer as well, and recently my grandparents had a friend who was diagnosed with cancer and 2 days later died.
Yeah.
So it's pretty hectic, and the thing is that a lot of chemo and stuff, it's just you get even sicker from that, and it doesn't really actually support the rest of the body.
Yeah.
So yeah, wow. Okay, so you're also a published author with your very own recipe book, The Nutrilicious Kitchen, The Heart and Art of Nutrition. I love that. In the book, you talk about nutrition and living a wholesome, balanced life. Can you tell us a bit more on your ethos and approach to health and wellness?
Okay, so initially I started off very linear in terms of my approach to healthcare. It was consultation and what I would call green pharmacy. So I was doing what your conventional doctor would do, taking a case and then prescribing alternative medicine. I soon found out that we need to really address the basis of of what the foundations are of health, and a huge component of that is food. And food has a massive impact on our biology. And if our eating isn't right, we can give as many medicines and tinctures and remedies as we want. It won't shift and it won't change on the long term, any sort of chronic diseases. So my ethos really, in terms of nutrition as well, is innate wisdom. I think there's a huge amount of information out there. We're overloaded with information about nutrition, and it changes on a daily basis. So people are often frustrated and confused. So I try and teach people to listen to their bodies and to tap into innate wisdom in terms of what they need to eat and how they need to eat. And an important part of what I do is really creating a healthy relationship with food. So my philosophy is not, I don't have a specific diet philosophy, besides the fact that I really my favorite really is plant-based eating, because I've seen such amazing benefits overall. But yeah, I feel like people need to relearn how to enjoy food and also how to have a good relationship with food, because unfortunately the nutritional field does promote fear of food, and we're often told what we shouldn't eat and not what we can do in a positive light. So I try and keep what I do and my ethos light and fun, and initiate a conversation on personalized nutrition rather than just a generalized diet.
No, I love that for sure. I think nowadays, especially with social media, there is so much like misinformation out there, and also myself being somebody who has in the past suffered with an eating disorder. I know all the kinds of stuff that can go through your mind, and how definitely information from the outside world does not help in any case. And it's, I know we need to really start enjoying our food instead of, feeling guilty about it or restricting ourselves, or, feeling like there's things that we should and shouldn't eat. And so it's definitely such an important message to share and to spread. So thank you. Oh gosh. Okay. Sorry if you can hear an alarm in the background. Don't know what just happened. So you also keep the earth in mind with the work that you do. I follow your Instagram, so I see a lot of, you often post pictures of you in the garden, and your garden looks beautiful, by the way. So can you share a bit on why, lost where I was. Can you share a bit on how our health and the planet's health might be interconnected, and in what ways one affects the other?
Okay, so I've always been a nature child at heart. I've always felt most comfortable in nature and with animals. So I don't see that there's a difference between us. There's definitely a connectedness. We are part of nature. We're not distinct or different. So obviously the health of the planet directly affects our health, and we can see that in terms of our pollution levels and toxicity levels. People are exposed a lot more because we're not taking the environment into account, and we're not being conscious of that. So it directly affects us. So what we do to the planet is what we do to ourselves, and there's 100%. So much toxicity in our environment, and that directly translates to toxicity in our bodies and ill health as well. So lots of syndromes we're seeing, things that are autoimmune disorders, and people and researchers linking all these chronic diseases to our environment. So environmental impact is massive in terms of our health, but also health of the planet and for our survival really as a human species. And that's, I think, at the moment really a topic that is really important, and people should start to take that into consideration. We can't keep on going the way we've been going. and
for sure.
if we don't connect our own health, even if that is egotistical, to the environment, then I don't know where we're going to start in terms of
For sure.
making a difference and living a healthy life.
Yeah, for sure. I think people, I don't know, they somehow are so kind of disconnected. Just like the planet and the people are not one thing. And yet, if there was no planet, we wouldn't be alive right now. So, we really need to start connecting those dots. And I love what you said, how anything that's like toxic in the environment is going to be toxic in us. And it's so true.
Yeah.
And our environment affects everything.
Exactly.
It's so true.
Yeah.
So definitely.
We're a product of our environment, really.
Yes. No, true.
And that
definitely.
we see that in health.
Yes. Yes.
So.
Yeah. And I think it must be quite amazing, like working as a doctor and a nutritionist, you can actually really see these things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you can, having all these different perspectives gives you, I think, definitely, I feel like I've got a good picture of what's happening, and it's not just me seeing it, it's everyone, and what you're doing is just as important as, your role is also in healthcare, not only for the planet, but for people and animals. Animals are suffering too.
Yeah, no, for sure. Everything is connected. So you also promote a plant-based diet and lifestyle. Can you tell us why we need to be eating more plants and the amazing benefits they have on us and the planet? And just out of interest's sake, are you vegan as well?
Okay, so I often get asked this question because I think in nutrition, kind of in the last few years, what you eat is kind of a reflection of who you are. So we
Especially
often
on social media.
Exactly. So we align with certain dietary dogmas, and people kind of identify with that, and you're either for or against. So I've never really wanted to be like that. I need to, as a practitioner, I need to be open-minded because I see all kinds of patients. And for myself, my journey's really been, I would call what in popular media you would call a flexitarian. At the moment, I've been eating vegetarian. And for me, eating plant and plant foods, in terms of the nutritional benefit, is your vitamins, your minerals, and your phytonutrients, so your plant nutrients, and they have some amazing benefits, some very therapeutic benefits as well. So, which really is if you look in terms of color and variety as well, just for digestive health and general, your system in general, plant-based eating is just the way to go. In terms of environment, obviously environmental impact is something we need to really be conscious of, and eating less meat really has a positive impact on the environment, because the farming practices are not conducive to any sort of environmentally sustainable way of living. So I would say I'm vegetarian at the moment, and previously probably 80% plant-based. When I talk about plant-based, I talk about primarily eating plant foods. Vegan to me is not always healthy, so I've met a lot of unhealthy vegans. People kind of put vegan and healthy in the same kind of box, and I don't see it that way. So for me, plant-based, when I talk about plant-based, I talk about primarily eating fruit, vegetables, and whole foods, so whole grains, legumes, and minimally processed foods. And as I said, you've got amazing amounts of fiber and all the different colors. And if you look at the array of colors in fruit and vegetables, you understand the amount of nutrients and phytochemicals that you get that actually have a positive effect on your health. So that's why I really love the plant-based way of eating, and I promote it. So it's not exclusive. I often people feel very intimidated if they want to make a change, and that, you know, you say, okay, you need to eat vegan, they often feel like, wow, it's a bit jolting. So for me, plant-based is a nice introduction for people who want to live a more sustainable, conscious life. And
definitely. Yeah, I think a lot of people, like you're saying, they're mistaken the moment it's vegan, it's healthy. Absolutely. Which is so not true. I mean, you can get like vegan alternatives to everything, and it's just as processed and just as full of crap as, you know, anything, as the normal stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, so I think that's definitely, I also like to say, like, if people ask me, like, are you vegan? I prefer to say plant-based as well, because what I eat is mostly plants. Like, I don't like to eat all the processed junk out there. So definitely it just sounds better as well.
It does. There's as I said, I think with the plant-based eating, it's more inclusive.
Yeah, definitely.
What I do love about the vegan philosophy, and I mean, it's just a play on words, really, plant-based or vegan. It's what you label it. But what I love about the vegan philosophy is the mindfulness about our impact on the environment in terms of the food choices we make. So, and obviously taking into consideration the way we treat other sentient beings in the world, and animals, you know, have been mistreated. So for me, because I'm such an animal lover, it was kind of a natural gravitation towards that.
For sure, No, definitely the same. I'm quickly interrupting this episode to bring you a little message from our amazing sponsors who've made this episode possible. I live in the beautiful town of Knysna in the Garden Route, and I want to invite everyone to visit this fantastic part of our country. We have everything: indigenous forests, nature reserves, awesome views, beautiful beaches, and natural wildlife. Come for a dream vacation. Oh, and I almost forgot. Knysna has some of the best restaurants you will find anywhere. Follow us on Instagram at visitgardenroute, where we will introduce you to our fantastic and favorite people, places, and things to visit. This is us on Instagram at visitgardenroute. And now, without further ado, let's get on with the rest of the episode. What do you find are some of the most common misconceptions people have around health and nutrition?
Okay, so definitely that it's expensive. So that eating healthy is expensive, because I think a lot of people associate healthy with superfoods and with novelty ingredients, and they don't kind of relate it to your everyday fruit and vegetables. And then also with the expensive comes the exclusivity, so that it's only, applies or is in the reach, within the reach of people who are financially able to buy these ingredients. The other thing is that it's boring. A lot of the times, that's why I kind of promote the fun aspect of nutrition as well, is because there's often an idea that eating healthy is boring and bland as well. And not creative. So I think that's where, with the Nutrilicious Kitchen, I like to promote a different way of thinking. I think that's pretty much.
That's it. Yeah. Cool. No, definitely. I think people, especially if you say like plant-based and stuff, they're like, really? Like, how can, like, nobody likes veggies? And it's like, I don't understand why. They're like, they're so colorful and delicious.
Yeah, exactly. No, I also don't understand why. It's just you need to know how to treat vegetables.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I teach at the Nutrilicious Kitchen.
I love that. So what would you say are the building blocks for a healthy and happy life?
Okay, so I was thinking about this when you sent me questions, and we can either go philosophical or we can go very practical. And I think my answer really would be from the heart. And so your question basically is, what is the building blocks? So I can tell you, which most people know: good nutrition, sleeping well, happy life, and balance. But within that, I think there's so much more, and I've actually had to write it down because I was having a philosophical moment. So I also think it evolves. So foundations of health and happiness kind of evolve as we grow, and so as our priorities evolve and grow. So I've put one of the things was connection, and I think especially in this time there's a lot of disconnect with everything.
Yes, for sure.
We're so connected on social media, but we don't have time for each other. We're so distracted.
Yeah.
So connection to people, to nature, and to other sentient beings, and of course most importantly to ourselves.
Yes.
Because without connection to ourselves, we can't actually connect to the people around us. And nature and everything. So connection's definitely one of those things. I also think authenticity is a big important part of living a healthy and happy life. I think when you know yourself, you're able to engage in life in a much more healthy way, let's put it that, or balanced way. And so, good or bad aspects of life can be overcome if you know your reaction. So it doesn't mean being perfect, and it doesn't mean, it's just about being inquisitive about the person you are, and that person evolves and grows hopefully throughout life. And health and happiness are dynamic, so it's not, both are not static. And kind of making peace with the fact that we're always in this dynamic flow, flux and flow. I love talking about that because it's not a constant. So, and happiness comes and goes. It's
100%.
And it's influenced by a lot of things that we have no control over. So I like to think of a stable kind of happiness as contentment. So if you've got the stability of contentment, then happiness comes and goes. It's an emotion, it's flitting. Health, we can certainly do things that promote health, and a good diet is obviously a major part, but we can recover well as well if we're eating very well. So so
I love that.
That's kind of thing.
I love that.
And then the connecting to the innate wisdom was that, so that you can integrate the good and bad in life. So we don't have a bias towards, obviously we want more good, but
No, I love that. It's so true. And I think definitely that connection to ourselves is something that we have definitely lost, and it's something that is actually so important. And being true and authentic to yourself, honestly, that makes you happy, and then you can spread your happiness and make other people happy as well. So I love that.
So I think that really is important, and of course you need to eat your fruit and vegetables.
Yes. Right, are you ready for a little quick rapid round?
Okay.
What does a typical day in the life of Geraldine Robson-Parsons look like?
Okay, so usually at around 4 or 5 a.m. I am a cat trampoline. So my cats wake me up, feed the cats. I usually drink about a liter of hot lemon water, and then I sit usually outside in my garden, and I either write a journal, or I do breathing, or I try and meditate. So I usually do that for about 10 minutes, and then I do some sort of physical activity, whether that's a yoga practice, or I usually go to gym because I enjoy being challenged in that way. And then I get home, I usually have breakfast, and then I get into my office, which is either the kitchen or my office where I consult. And then usually in the afternoon I have cuddle time and playtime with my 2 little doggies, or we go for a walk. And then in the evenings I just kind of lays on the couch and usually fall asleep to whatever we're watching at home. So yeah, and then my kind of day, I usually try and end my day off with some sort of calming practice, so whether that's yoga or also just sitting and reflecting on the day. What I like to do in the morning is I have a joy list and I have a to-do list. So I make sure that I have my joy list as a kind of balance to my to-do list. And so today I'm going dancing.
Oh,
and
nice.
So that is my joy list, and of course chatting to you. So.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice. I'm gonna steal that from you, because we can get very wrapped up in our to-do list sometimes and forget to have the joy. So
Yeah.
that's a very good one.
Yeah, I love my joy list.
Yes. Now, what is one of the biggest lessons you've learned, and it doesn't have to be career related?
Okay, so I feel like I've learned a lot of lessons in life. But I think in the past 4 or 5 years, I've had 2 very special people pass away, and we lost everything in the Knysna fires. And there's just been a lot of very challenging things in my life that I've had to deal with. And I realized really that I'm stronger than I definitely think, and I think that is applicable to most people.
Yeah.
I think when you have those challenges, you think the worst thing that can happen to you won't overcome, and you do.
Yeah.
With a lot of heartache, with a lot of soul searching, a lot of journaling and writing and breathing and yoga.
Yes.
And I think those kind of challenges bring you closer to knowing things about yourself that you realize, wow, I'm actually strong. So in terms of that's a very kind of personal what I've kind of learned, but I think those life lessons I can translate into, it gave me the courage to write a book, and to continue with my business, and to pick up from having lost literally everything, and just carrying on,
Yeah.
So we are definitely stronger than what we believe, and the human soul is infinitely strong.
Yes.
So yeah,
I
I
love
think that's my
that.
big lesson.
Yeah, no, I can relate to that so much with definitely all kinds of things in life. Things come and knock us down, and you've just, I think, finding that strength inside of yourself, and just each time just persevering, it just makes you stronger every single time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So on the top of your head, what are 3 things you're grateful for in this moment?
In this moment, I'm really grateful that I'm going dancing. I'm really grateful that my husband had a bit of a health scare a few years ago, and he had a checkup today, and he is healthy.
Oh,
So
good.
yeah, so I'm really grateful for that.
Yes,
I'm grateful
definitely.
that my family's healthy and that I'm healthy, and I'm really grateful that I got kisses from my little Jazzy, who's my little cat, my newest adoptee. So lots of cat kisses today.
Yes,
So
the
I
best.
think the simple things that
The
you need to be
simple things in
grateful
life.
for.
Oh, good. Good. I'm glad that your husband's well. That's good. So, if we had one day to save the planet and help everyone achieve a healthy lifestyle, what 3 things would we need to do?
Okay.
It's the tricky one.
Yeah,
I interviewed somebody yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, I really had to think this one through."
Yeah, no. So I had to make notes on this as well, because again, this is a massive topic.
Yes.
And my natural nature to panic in a situation of we only have one day.
It's hypothetical.
Hypothetical, okay. So definitely, if I look from my point of view, obviously I come from a frame work of nutrition. So eating more consciously, not supporting monocultures, and eating more locally, growing your own food would be a good start. And then, I think like looking at being more tolerant. I think tolerance translates into. I definitely think we could save the planet with more tolerance. And then time. So I think, our time is limited. Our own lives are limited.
Yeah.
And I think we are at a crucial turning point in our health in terms of the planet as well. So so I think time. I would choose time. If you were a genie, I would definitely go conscious consumerism, eating close to home, and being tolerant.
Cool.
I don't know if that answers the question correctly.
No, that's perfect. Because I think what's so cool about that is that you can see if you consume consciously, if you eat locally, if you eat more plants, it helps the planet and it also helps the people.
Exactly.
Which is exactly
Win-win.
what we're talking about here.
Win-win.
So it's fantastic. Perfect. Right. So to finish off, what piece of advice or actionable step can you give our listeners to help them reduce their impacts on the planet and also improve their lifestyle?
Okay, I think it kind of relates back to what you asked me previously, and definitely being a conscious consumer. So knowing where your food comes from. We're very blessed in the Garden Route to have lovely local producers and markets that we can go to and places we can go and find local produce. So supporting that, planting your own garden.
Yes.
Not everyone's an avid gardener, but herbs it just gives you an appreciation for where food comes from.
Definitely.
And what it takes to grow food.
Definitely, because it's not easy.
Not easy. So definitely that. And then I think always realize that you have an impact. So the choices we make, often people will say, well, what is my one decision going to make? What is my one plastic bag? It's if I go shopping, with my Tupperware and my cloth bags from What the Bag, then what impact am I making? But everyone has an impact, and 100%. So there is power in individual decisions. So that's a huge thing. And then educating yourself. I think a lot of people don't have bad intentions. And I think people want to do better, but the key is education. So
definitely.
I think we're bombarded with information, but there's a lack of education.
Definitely.
So I think that's where it's wonderful what you're doing, and making people aware, and just making it practical for people, because I think that's what people need. That's what I do at the Nutrilicious Kitchen. I try and make health practical, so I think those are definitely what I would tell people.
Definitely, I love that. And so true. Education, and 100% we all have an impact. That's like what I preach. I'm like, people, we all have an impact here. Doesn't matter if it's the tiniest thing, it will make a difference. And if it makes a difference in your life, it makes a difference overall. So I love that. Perfect. So to wrap up, where can people find you and the Nutrilicious Kitchen and connect with all the amazing stuff that you're doing?
So I have a Instagram account. I'm quite active on social media. So Instagram at Nutrilicious Kitchen, and then on Facebook as well under Nutrilicious Kitchen. And then you can get hold of me by email on Geraldine at nutriliouskitchen.co.za. And you can, if you want to be part of the Nutrilicious network, you can just send me an email and I'll add you to a WhatsApp group. It's not a chat group, so it's just about information, it's just about workshops. I host workshops in Knysna, but I am actually hosting a one in St. Francis Bay
Okay,
soon.
nice.
Yeah, so I've got a few events planned that might be out of Knysna as well.
Cool.
So yeah, you can, I think the best way to get hold of me is on social media though.
Awesome.
It's a good platform
Yes.
to connect.
Yes.
So.
And go follow her. She's got a very nice Instagram page. It's very bright and colorful. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show and chatting to us all about everything, health and nutrition and our lives and the planet's lives, and it's all connected. So thank you very, very much for coming on, and I will chat to you guys next time. Have you taken the Plastic Pledge yet? I have. The Plastic Pledge is an awareness initiative with the aim of fighting the scourge of plastic pollution. If we know better, we can do better. And the most important thing that all of us can do as a community is to create awareness. Find the link to the Plastic Pledge below. Enjoying the show? Then please support us so that we can continue making awesome episodes just for you. A minimum donation of 100 Rand will get you or your business listed on the Earth Chats page as a sponsor with a link to you or your business. Please visit the link below to make your contribution. Thank you for tuning in to the Earth Chats podcast and supporting the show. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you feel someone else could maybe benefit from hearing this conscious conversation, please do give it a share. And that's it for now, guys. I'll see you next week.